Hey guys, so it's been about 9 weeks roughly since we got the baby chickens, the Cornish Cross. We're working on butchering them now. I go out and I do 10 or so here and there as I can. I don't like to do too many because putting that much warm meat in the freezer, it thaws everything else out and it's hard on the freezer and everything. So I go out, I'll do 10 or so at a crack and then come back and do 10 or so. So we've been butchering for a couple weeks now, actually. About 3 weeks roughly. We started when the birds were about 6 weeks old. Believe it or not, they're big enough then. Now they're about 9 weeks old and they're at the point that I can hardly fit 2 breasts into a gallon bag. And that's with them, split down the middle. So the birds have gained very well in those 9 years. So I lost 5 or 6 birds. Not too bad in my opinion out of 80. That's decent percentage, I would think. If you ask me, probably 4% roughly. So I would say overall they went pretty well. They gained very well. I'll take you out and show you the tractors and the system that I had going here. All right, guys. Like I said, I'd bring you out here to show you the tractors that I made. Behind me, you can see the fence. We just sectioned off a portion of this pasture that I moved them around in here right up by the house. So that's just temporary fence to keep the cattle from nosing at the chicken tractors and scratching on them and everything else, you know how they are. Anyway, so I built 2. I'll take you through them quick. And like I said, show you what I like, what I don't like. And that'll probably sum up this video. Here's the first one I made. I used PVC for the bottom. That was out of the barn. It was old vacuum line. Got a bunch of it. So I just used some PVC. I figured PVC would be nice because it'd slide across the ground easy. And I feel like there's less to worry about as far as the chickens injuring themselves if one catches a foot under it when you're moving it. Like I feel like if you make it out of 2x4, which it's whatever, it's your decision, but the 2x4 I feel would be, I just feel like having a right angle there is easier to injure the bird's leg if it gets caught. I don't know, I could be wrong. Then I wanted some weight to it, so I built the top section out of wood because I wanted to make sure that it wouldn't fly away in the wind. So I built the top section out of wood, just stapled chicken wire to it, nothing fancy. The chicken wire is just zip tied to the PVC on the bottom. This one's 8x8 roughly. And then I just put a tarp over this here, and the tarp comes down on the back side and on this side. I went with the tarp over tin because I can buy one of these tarps for about $8. And to put 2 sheets of steel on here was going to cost me, I want to say about $70, 60 or 70. If I were to buy the steel new. So I can replace the tarp every year for quite some time before the tin would pay for itself. So I went ahead and went with the tarp. I didn't have any issues with any predators getting in. I had to put a hole right here for the rain, obviously, because it'll fill up with water and it'll sag, and I didn't want it to tear the tarp, so I just put a hole there. And then the chickens pecked at it a little bit here and there. So that was the first design. It worked. It was a little bit short. I think I made it like 18 inches. And the reason I made it that high is because that's what the height of my chicken wire was for the walls. So I just went with 18 inches. I would have liked to have made it a little bit bigger, but this worked. And then for the lid, I just kind of framed this up with 1x. And it just sets in there on these blocks. And that's what I do. The next one that I built after that, once all 80 of them were too big for that one, was this guy. So this one is 24 inches tall. As you can see, significantly taller. It's bigger. I think it's 10 by 9. I think I built this one. So it gives you about 90 square feet versus 64 in the other one. I also left this side and the back side here open, because I found on this one here, having two sides covered, the birds were always trying to stand over here where they could get, you know, where the light was. So on this one, I just covered one side so they have a windbreak. But I mean, I like that a lot better, because like I said, the birds all sleep. You know, they'll sleep along this corner here where they're more exposed. I don't know why, but that's where they sleep. So this one has more light exposure, which made me a lot happier. I think the birds liked it better. What else did I change? Oh, I took a piece of PVC, the 2-inch PVC, and I ran it across in here. Overall, I liked them. I would have liked to have put a little bit better system on for moving them around. You know, I'll do that before next year. I just didn't get around to it this year, but fasten something on the bottom so I can actually pick it up and drag it. Rather than trying to push or bend over, I'd like to have a rope that I can kind of drag it with. But overall, it worked pretty well. The other issue with them is they're too rigid. I wish I could have designed a little bit of flexibility in it, because on an uneven pasture like this, especially this one, because this used to be cornfield, with the unevenness, you can kind of see it down here a little bit. You'll get big dips underneath the PVC, which just make it easier for any predator to get in. Obviously, if a mink or a weasel wanted to get in, they could. They'll just go underneath. But, you know, I'm just trying to somewhat keep animals out, so that was kind of difficult. I have silo staves that I'd walk around and put down in the big dips, you know, every night when I moved them, which was it was extra work. I think I got pictures of when I was building these. If I do, I'll post them. As for the birds, they are good sized. Like I said, these are about 9 weeks. Come here, one of you. Oh, relax. This is a pretty decent sized bird. I would say she is all of 10 pounds. You know, and she's one of the smaller ones in this pen. That pen, they're a little bit smaller than this one. I'm not sure why, but they are. I think it's because I started butchering out of this pen first, so there was less competition for anything in here. So then these just grew a lot faster. I mean, you can see this one here next to this bucket. You know, she's almost the width of the bucket. Like that, they're pretty good sized birds. This one here is reaching up out. The top here is, 18, 20 inches. And you can see their heads are all well up and above that. And, you know, looking for an escape route or something, because they know what's going to happen today. They know when I start coming around and grabbing birds that their friends never come back. But overall, I'm very happy with it. The birds are very healthy. They look really good in my opinion. Everyone that stopped by and talked or saw them, they thought they looked really good. I was moving the pens twice a day. I split them up. I think I put 45 in the bigger one, or 40. What did I put? 44 in the bigger one, and then like 30-ish in this one, smaller one. Gave them all 2 square feet per bird, which is what I read they needed. I moved them twice a day, gave them lots of squash, zucchini, all the garden scraps, and obviously food. And this is our result in 9 weeks. So we'll get some butchered. Like I said, I'll weigh a few breasts and legs and see what our actual finished package product weighed, and I'll average it out and see what we ended up with for meat. And I guess we'll go from there, and I'll do another video on that. So thanks, guys.